Welcome to Constructive Talks, and we speak forward. Tonight, we're beginning what I believe is one of the most important conversations we've had in a long time. We're talking about children, identity, parenting, systems, conditioning, and something deeper than most people realize. We're talking about what happens when people are shaped before they're even conscious enough to understand what's shaping them. Are children really being raised to become themselves, or are they being conditioned to become reflections of systems, families, trends, and expectations? That's where we're going tonight. What do you think, Thomas?
Indeed, Jean. Tonight, we're diving deeper into the layers of influence that mold identity, often before consciousness fully develops.
I want to begin with something simple but powerful. I've said this before. Don't paint the picture before you draw the outline. Don't write the whole book before you create the summary and chapters. But somehow, when it comes to children, many adults do exactly that. Before the child can even speak well, think critically, or fully express who they are, adults have already started writing the story of who they should be. That's where I want to start.
Let me ask everyone this. Are we truly raising children, or are we programming them? And I want y'all to really sit with that, because raising sounds nurturing. Programming sounds mechanical. But if we're honest, some of what we do feels a whole lot more like programming than parenting.
That question hits me deeply because I've spent over 35 years around children in schools, and I can tell you something has changed. Years ago, children came in with more individuality. You could feel curiosity in them. You could feel wonder. Today, I see more children arriving already shaped, already influenced, already carrying attitudes, language, and behaviors that feel much older than they are.
And it's not just language, it's how they carry themselves, how they respond to authority, how quickly they challenge direction. Sometimes I meet a child, and within 5 minutes, I can almost see the household dynamics. I can feel what's being reinforced at home. That tells me children absorb far more than adults realize. I feel that as a parent, because honestly, parenting today is hard in ways people don't fully understand. There are so many voices competing to shape your child now. It's not just family anymore. It's phones, YouTube, tablets, school, social media, influencers, gaming culture, everything. Even if you're intentional as a parent, the outside world is constantly trying to teach your child something. So yes, I think programming is happening. The question becomes, who's doing the programming? Is it the parent? Is it the culture? Is it technology? Is it the algorithm? Most parents don't realize they're competing with systems built by billion-dollar companies.
What stands out to me is how early identity pressure begins. Children are incredibly impressionable. Before logic fully develops, emotional learning is already happening. They're learning what gets approval, what gets attention, what gets affection, and what gets correction. That becomes the blueprint for how they begin seeing themselves. So yes, conditioning starts extremely early. A child quickly learns, this version of me gets celebrated, this version gets rejected. That can affect identity development for decades. Many adults are still living out scripts they absorbed before age 10.
Technology has accelerated all of this. We're no longer talking about influence happening slowly. Influence is now constant. A child today can consume more images, opinions, and narratives in one day than prior generations consumed in months. That changes development. And here's the scary part. Most digital platforms are optimized for engagement, not healthy development. They reward attention, they reward stimulation, they reward emotional reaction. So the system isn't asking what's good for your child. It's asking what keeps your child engaged. Historically, every society shapes children according to its values. That part is not new. What is new is the speed, intensity, and scale of modern influence. The old village shaped the child. Now the digital world shapes the child. That's a dramatic shift. The question is no longer whether children are shaped. Of course they are. The deeper question is this: shaped into what? Into thoughtful human beings, into consumers, into followers, into workers, into performers. That's the conversation.
Growing up in this generation, I can say a lot of us felt pressure very early. We were taught to present ourselves before we really understood ourselves. Social media made image feel important before identity was solid. That messes with people more than adults realize. A lot of young people don't even know who they are without outside feedback. Likes, comments, validation, it becomes part of identity. So when you ask whether children are being programmed, I think many already are. And a lot of them don't even realize it. I grew up in a different time. We didn't have all these devices and distractions. We had conversations, we had discipline, we had structure. We had elders who corrected us and taught us. Children still mimicked adults, but there was more human connection. Today I see children with so much access, but less grounding. They know how to swipe screens before they know how to regulate emotions. They can navigate devices before they can communicate respectfully. That concerns me deeply.
That's powerful. And I want to go deeper because I think this starts even earlier than technology. I think it starts in the home before the child even understands what's happening. Parents often shape children in ways they don't even recognize, not always intentionally, but it happens. For example, a child can be 2 or 3 years old and already be dressed, styled, presented, and socially packaged a certain way. Earrings, clothes, hairstyles, mannerisms. The child becomes an extension of the parent's image. Society praises it too. He looks just like you. That's your twin. She acts just like her mama. And we celebrate that without asking whether the child is being given space to become themselves. So I want to ask this next question. At what point does guidance become control? Let's go deeper into this idea of parents living through their children. Because I think this happens far more than people realize, and a lot of times it doesn't even look harmful. It looks normal, it looks loving, it looks cute, it looks like pride. But underneath that, there can be something deeper happening. I'm talking about when a parent starts shaping a child into an extension of themselves, instead of allowing that child room to become their own person. It can show up in little things at first, how they dress them, how they style them, how they present them to the world, and society reinforces it. That's your mini-me. That's your twin. She acts just like her mama. That boy is just like his daddy. We praise resemblance so much that sometimes we never stop to ask whether the child is developing identity or simply learning imitation.
I saw this often in education. Some children came into the classroom with so much individuality and curiosity. Others came in carrying what felt like an adult identity already placed on them. They talked like adults, reacted like adults, even carried emotional burdens that belonged to adults. And you could tell they were absorbing more than what was appropriate for their age. Sometimes the child wasn't being allowed to simply be a child. They were already carrying expectations, attitudes, and presentation styles that reflected the adults around them. That's where concern starts, because childhood should include discovery, not just performance.
As a father, I'll admit this is tricky. Every parent wants to pass something down. We want our children to carry good things from us: discipline, work ethic, values, respect, maybe even traditions. That part feels natural. The challenge is knowing where healthy influence ends and identity control begins. I had to ask myself that. Am I trying to raise my child well, or am I trying to make my child a version of me? Those are not the same thing. One is leadership. The other can quietly become ego.
That distinction is critical. Children need guidance, they need structure, they need values, but they also need space for identity formation. A healthy parent says, "I will guide you, but I'm not here to clone you." That's a very different mindset. When parents unconsciously need their child to validate them, the child begins carrying pressure. The child learns that love, approval, or connection may become tied to how well they reflect the parent. That creates internal conflict because the child eventually feels tension between authenticity and acceptance.
Social media has intensified this too. Parents now curate children online almost like personal brand extensions. Matching outfits, posed photos, rehearsed videos, family image content, it can become performance. Sometimes the child becomes part of the parent's public identity. That changes things because now it's not just family approval, it's audience approval. Likes, comments, praise, it all reinforces the presentation. That can blur the line between parenting and branding.
Historically, children have always been seen as extensions of family legacy. That's not new, but what's changed is how image-driven society has become. Presentation now carries enormous weight. Appearance, perception, branding, and social approval have become deeply influential. The danger comes when the child's individuality becomes secondary to maintaining image. That's when family legacy shifts from stewardship into control. A child becomes something to display rather than someone to develop.
I've seen that a lot growing up. Some kids felt like they couldn't disappoint the identity their family created for them. It wasn't always said out loud, but the pressure was there. Be this way. Represent us this way. Don't embarrass us. Carry this image. That creates a lot of confusion for young people because many don't know where their family's expectations end and their own identity begins. Some spend years trying to separate the two.
When I was raising children, we had expectations too. Respect, manners, discipline, responsibility. But I think one difference is that we weren't constantly performing life in front of everybody. Everything didn't need to be seen, photographed, and approved by the public. That matters, because once outside validation gets involved, people start doing things for appearances, and that can influence how children are shaped.
That's exactly where I wanted to go. Because sometimes the force doesn't look like force, it looks like normal life. A parent puts earrings in a child's ears at 2 or 3 years old. Society says it's cute, family says it's normal, community says that's just what we do. But let's really sit with that. The child didn't ask for that. The child didn't choose that. The child doesn't even understand what it means. Yet identity, style, and presentation are already being placed on them. That's what I mean when I say we may be shaping children before they can shape themselves.
And I'm not even just talking about earrings, I'm talking about everything. Clothing, haircuts, beauty standards, speech patterns, emotional behavior. We can start teaching children very early. This is how you should look. This is how you should present. This is what gets approval. So here's the deeper question. If we are doing that without realizing it, is that force?
I think we're getting to one of the most important ideas in this whole series. And I want to give it a name because I think it deserves one. I'm calling it Unrealized Force. That's what I think we're really talking about tonight. Unrealized force is when something is being placed upon you, expected of you, or normalized around you, but neither the person giving it nor the person receiving it fully recognizes it as force. It doesn't feel aggressive. It doesn't feel violent. It doesn't even feel wrong. It just feels normal.
That's why it's dangerous. Because if force feels like force, you usually recognize it. But if force feels like love, tradition, culture, normal life, or this is just what we do, most people never question it. That's incredibly powerful because I saw this with children all the time. So much of what they brought into the classroom wasn't chosen, it was inherited. Their reactions, their speech, their attitude toward authority, even their fears, so much of it came from what had been modeled and repeated around them. And the parents often weren't doing anything intentionally harmful. They were simply repeating what had been given to them. That's why these cycles can continue for generations. Nobody pauses long enough to ask, why do we do this?
That hits hard because as parents, most of us are operating from what feels familiar. You parent from what you experienced, what you saw, what worked, what hurt, what you promised you'd never repeat, and what you unconsciously still carry. A lot of parenting is inherited behavior until you become aware enough to examine it. That's why this conversation feels important to me. It's making me think about how many things I may be doing simply because they feel normal, not because I intentionally chose them.
This is exactly how generational conditioning works. People don't need malicious intent for conditioning to happen. Conditioning often moves through repetition, reinforcement, and emotional association. If something is repeatedly tied to belonging, safety, love, approval, or acceptance, people rarely question it. Children especially internalize this quickly. They learn patterns long before they have language to explain those patterns. So what feels normal in adulthood may simply be old conditioning that was never examined.
I think every generation deals with pressure in some form. But what worries me now is how fast pressure spreads. There used to be more time between influence and adoption. Now people see something today and normalize it tomorrow. That changes families quickly. And once enough people accept something, questioning it becomes difficult. People don't like being the one asking uncomfortable questions. I think we've stopped doing asking uncomfortable questions. We accept so much simply because it has become common. We assume common means healthy. We assume popular means right. We assume normal means harmless.
Awareness changes everything. The moment you become conscious of conditioning, you gain the ability to choose differently. Without awareness, patterns simply repeat. With awareness, patterns can be examined. That's why self-awareness matters so much in parenting. Parents who are aware create more intentional environments. Parents who are unaware often pass forward inherited conditioning without realizing it. And that may be one of the most important distinctions in this entire conversation. The issue is not whether influence exists. Influence always exists. The issue is whether influence is conscious or unconscious.
Now, I want to move this beyond parenting and family because conditioning doesn't stop at home. Parents influence children, yes, but parents themselves are influenced by society. That's where the bigger machine comes in. Society teaches us what right looks like, what success looks like, what beauty looks like, what happiness looks like, what masculinity looks like, what femininity looks like, what status looks like. And the thing is, most people never stop to ask where those definitions came from.
That's true. Even in schools, you can see children already carrying ideas about what is cool, what is desirable, and what gets approval. Those ideas didn't come from nowhere. They were learned, and they're often learned much earlier than adults realize. By the time some children reach elementary school, they already have opinions about appearance, popularity, clothing, and social status. That tells you society starts shaping self-worth very early. As adults, we're not immune either. A lot of us are still chasing definitions we inherited. We're chasing versions of success that may not even align with who we really are. Big house, expensive car, certain income, certain image, certain lifestyle.
That's because external achievement cannot fully satisfy internal misalignment. If the life you're building isn't connected to your actual values, emptiness often follows, even when success appears visible. The modern economy depends heavily on dissatisfaction. That's an uncomfortable truth. Entire industries profit by convincing people they are incomplete. If you feel fully secure, fully confident, fully content, you become harder to market to. So systems constantly reinforce subtle messages. You need this, upgrade that, improve this, fix that, enhance this, buy this, become more attractive, become more successful, become more desirable. The economy thrives when people believe they are not enough.
That analogy is excellent because it highlights how conditioning shapes perception. We often believe we're making independent choices when many of those choices were heavily influenced by prior conditioning. We reject unfamiliar options, not always because they're wrong, but because they challenge our framework. That feels true. A lot of people don't actually know what they like. They know what their environment taught them to like. There's a difference. Sometimes people are chasing lifestyles they don't even genuinely want. They just want what that lifestyle represents socially. And I think that's where so much suffering comes from. People chasing lives that were never theirs. People trying to become versions of themselves that were never authentic.
I think this next part is huge because it explains why so much conditioning works so well. And I want to say something that may sound simple, but I think it's powerful. We've become a society built heavily around consumption instead of creation. Think about the average day. Most people wake up consuming. They consume notifications, consume news, consume content, consume opinions, consume videos, consume ads, consume trends, consume entertainment. All day long, they are receiving. The question becomes, how much are they actually creating?
That's such an important point. I've watched children become increasingly accustomed to receiving stimulation instead of creating engagement. Years ago, children had more opportunities to create their own play, solve their own boredom, and use imagination. Now there's constant stimulation available, and when constant stimulation becomes normal, stillness starts feeling uncomfortable. Boredom feels unbearable. Silence feels unfamiliar. But creativity often begins in those spaces. That hits home because I think boredom used to force us to create. You had to figure something out, go outside, build something, imagine something, make something. That process developed problem solving in ways we probably didn't appreciate at the time. Now so much is instantly available. Entertainment is immediate, stimulation is immediate. That changes the relationship people have with effort.
This shift from creation to consumption has deep cultural implications. Historically, communities passed down skills, trades, rituals, craftsmanship, and knowledge through active participation. People learned by doing, by building, by contributing. Consumption-centered societies create a different rhythm. People spend more time receiving finished products than participating in creation. That changes how identity develops. I feel that in my generation, a lot of people consume so much content that they start comparing themselves constantly. You're watching everybody else build, create, perform, win, travel, succeed. It can make you feel like you're always behind. And ironically, all that consumption can make you less likely to start your own thing because comparison becomes overwhelming.
I think people underestimate the power of creating. There's something healthy about building with your hands, your mind, your effort. Whether it's gardening, writing, cooking, fixing, teaching, building, creation grounds people. Consumption alone can leave people restless because they're always receiving but not producing anything meaningful. I think this is where the danger really shows up. The more we consume, the easier it becomes for outside systems to shape us. Because when you're constantly consuming, you're constantly receiving someone else's narrative.
Thank you, Jean. It's a vital conversation for shaping a more conscious future generation. Because life has always been the greatest teacher, but I do think schools and families can work together better. Families teach character. Schools teach knowledge. Communities reinforce values. None of those should replace the others. When those three work together, children have a stronger foundation. Imagine if children were introduced early, not overwhelmed, just introduced to ideas like saving money, investing, entrepreneurship, communication, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and critical thinking.
To our listeners, remember, awareness is the first step to change. Keep questioning who shapes you. Until next time, subscribe, like, and follow us on Constructive Talks and We Speak Forward. Stay curious and nurture the real self within.